welcome to the channel. All about the blues harmonica, so if you haven't already, thumbs up and subscribe. Something slightly different today, alright, on my tutorial. I'm just going to talk about how we get the best out of a harmonica and how as blues players and contemporary players we get the best out of this little 10-hole harmonica, this little piece of magic here. Alright, so it's probably not going to be for people with experience because I'm just going to talk about the mechanics of it. So if you've got some experience, you might as well just drop out now. This is for people who are simply curious about how we do it, and for people that want to start out and get stuck into the blues harp. Alright, so those of you that are left, the way that we do it is you get certain notes. We've got these these notes. And we can get these basic chords. Alright, okay, and so we've got that going on. Now, what we tend to do is we do three things to get the other notes that are missing, because there's some notes that are missing in order to play in all keys and to play lots of different things to make your blues more interesting and to make your contemporary music more accessible. We've got bends, so we can bend notes down. Alright, and I've got a video. I'll put a link to my video that shows you how to get basic bends. Alright, one of them, I think, the best technique. There's quite a few techniques to get there, but there's one below if you want to start trying that out. Okay, then we've got these. So it's here. That's what we call an overblow. Alright, what's happening there is that I'm blowing a blow reed, it goes beyond, and as I believe, it's the draw reed that's actually vibrating. So the top plate and the bottom plate work in conjunction with each other. So in order to learn the blues harp, in my view, best way, so you can use sort of chords and use the single notes as well, and combine them. You want a richer tuned harmonica, basically the bog standard one that they do. Okay, and then that's the overblow. And then the other technique we've got here and it's this note there. It's what we call a flat 5, or it's actually, what I'm doing there, I'm playing a 7 draw and then I'm overdrawing it, and it's the reversal of what I said about the overblow and the overdraw, and this time it's the reed going this way that vibrates. To get your head round, it's weird, isn't it, that you're blowing one way and it's the other vibration that's creating the note that's missing. Okay, so it's really handy. Once you can do these things, of course, then we've got the full chromatic scale, exactly the same way that you play on any other instrument. Okay, and what I'm showing you here is these are the three harmonicas that I like best. The best two makes, I think, all the makes are good these days, as long as it's airtight, everything's good, but the ones that I use mainly are Seidel and Hohner. Predominantly I use Hohner, but Seidel and Hohner, you won't go far wrong with the old boys, but all are good these days. And the ones that I favour are the Basic Marine Band 1896. For me, the best harmonica in the world to date, out the box, without a doubt. The Golden Melody, again by Hohner. I've done videos on the ET tuning and stuff like that, you can look those up. I've got a very good video on that of different subtle differences. And the Rocket Amp, not the Rocket, the Rocket Amp, the lime green one. Those are the three that I use for everything that I do, professionally, the lot. Those are the three. And if you get with the right people, they show you the right way, won't be long before you're up and running. But they have facility for everything. These three have been absolutely hammered, and I've now retired them. Sometimes I feel a little bit sentimental and sometimes keep on to them that I've done a good session with or whatever. But as you can see, 0.9, you want 0.9 I think millimetre of the reeds. That's the ones you want, because that's usually what people do. And it's just quite amazing, isn't it, that the reeds work in conjunction with each other. Now if you want to get stuck into the harmonica, I think you've got to be somebody who likes the challenge of moulding things. It's not about like, you know, hit a note on a piano, you get the note, don't you? Okay, alright, you've got a soft loud, you've got a soft and loud pedal, but basically, you know, there you go. Stringed instruments, you've got to manoeuvre and make the sound, particularly with woodwind. Now, when I was a jazz saxophonist, you know, you work at the sound long and hard for many years, of which you do with this, because you might as well, because you're blowing it anyway, aren't you? And it's interesting that when I say we've got these techniques that we can do on the saxophone, I was a few years before I started using the altissimo register. That's another register above the 2.5 octaves to give you another chamber to find a whole load of other notes. You tend to use them in things like soul bands more than anything. In the modern jazz world, you've got to be more selective, I think, about when to use them. But certainly they love you going up there in the soul thing, don't they? And I've done that a lot on New Year's Eve and things like that with those style of bands back in the day. But yeah, so back to this, the 10-hole diatonic. That's how we get round everything. And then of course we've got some basic chords. But with a little bit of knowledge, get with the right people, you can see how you can use and find some of those chords and find some progressions and find different things that we can do. Alright? And it's a case of getting a combination between the two. So, you know, so basically you want to be able to. So we use chords and we use single notes. These three harps, this one, they're all very, very responsive. The Golden Melody, this one with the red comb, they've improved it, or they say they've improved it. I preferred the old way they did it for years, but okay, they do this now, so we go with it. You know, a little bit more accurate on the single notes, but it doesn't have the wonderful sound of a marine band on the chords. It's marginal to tell the difference between the two, but there we are. They say this one's louder, but you know, once you get past a certain degree, you're going to be using a mic anyway. And if you're not, I mean, then you're going to be working on dynamics anyway. You don't want to be playing on one level. But that's another tutorial. Now, just going back to the over draws up here, okay, which is 4 draw bend repeated up the top. I've got is it 4? No, 3 other ways that you can actually get that note up here. But I'm not going to sort of provide you with that here. I've got to kind of earn across somewhere, haven't I? So, but I've got other places, because when you do over draws, even no matter how you set them up, sometimes you want them slightly faster than others, and you can't always get them at speed, but you can if you can get them in different places. So I can get that note in 2 to 3 other places. I can have the impression of it in one, I can get it definitely in 2 others. Okay, so it's just, and you get used to finding, particularly where you're playing slow, medium or fast, where they'll fit. And you can also do things where, with experience, you can use ghosting notes to simulate or, you know, give the impression of a note. Not something as basic as when you hear people just using a completely different note. I've heard blues players, or so-called good blues players from the past, do that. There's a typical con trick they do on a tune called Work Song, which is, you know, I cringe at that really. You know, they should be using the right note, but they use something else. But that's another story. Okay, but it's not too difficult to do if you get with the right people, because, as I say, everything I do is out of the box harmonica. You're not spending hundreds of dollars, hundreds of euros, or hundreds of pounds at all. No. And yeah, you know, you will blow out the other one. I mean, I don't really blow them out these days. Very, very rarely. They go eventually. I retire them eventually. And I get in there and and retune them again and again until they're basically exhausted. Because we are stressing these reeds quite a lot, we are pushing them. But you do need to be able to put a certain torque into the notes in order to feel for everything, and that's usually where the coach comes in. You know, I'm not a big fan of people as set lessons where they say pay for this set or pay for that set or something. You know, that it only works to a particular point, and there's literally the cultivating of creativity just isn't there. And whether you're 80 years old starting out, or you're 11 or 12 years or 9 years old starting out, the coach has to be aware of the individual and to be able to expand and open ideas up, and that isn't the way to do it. I mean, I've been a jazz saxophonist most of my adult career, and I can tell you that is not the way to go if you want to do it right and do it and get the most fulfillment out of music. And you can get that out of playing just in one scale if you get with the right people and doing the right things, okay? So I hope that's a few tips for people of how this thing works. And we can play most things on it, but predominantly it's kind of a blues instrument and beyond, but it's great for all sorts of things. Okay, hope that's helped a few people. You can get me for lessons on Harp or the Earwigs. Don't forget that link below. You might be able to check out my podcast as well. As always, I'll catch you on the rebound.